Hey, what's up, Adul? Welcome to the Cornerstone Podcast. How you doing?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. Thanks for
Cool.
having me.
Yeah, no problem, man. Well, in this podcast, we're kind of gonna like talk about like our experiences as like military veterans, as far as like the pros and cons of like going to the military. So, before we get started, viewers and listeners, just subscribe, like, and comment on the content, and just give us some feedback on it. So, we're still new at this, and any feedback, it definitely counts, man. So I'm definitely looking forward to y'all, hearing from y'all. So, but anyway, so you were in the Navy, right?
Navy Seabees.
Navy Seabees, and how's that experience like?
Well, the first, letting people know what a CB is, whenever
Okay.
I tell people I was in the Navy for, 11 years and I never went on a ship because CBs don't do shipboard stuff. We do construction. So our main duties are if during wartime, we go in, we build bases so that the Marines can come in, have a place to stay, place to eat, medical, chow hall, stuff like that. So we didn't really go on ships or things like that. So I'm glad I didn't have to go on a ship.
Nice. Now, how would a job like that in the Navy, how would that transition over to the civilian world?
Well, right now, probably one of the best jobs that are out there that people still don't understand that people need no matter what. You can't get a machine or computer to take over this job is, stuff like carpentry, plumbing, electrical, and that's what CBs do. They do all of the construction, everything from, grading the ground to building the buildings. So it translates to quite a few jobs, and being a CB also teaches you a lot about being resourceful,
Mm-hmm.
working through problems, things like that. So it teaches you a lot of good life lessons too.
I never knew about the plumbing part and like the surveying, stuff like that. Because I just thought that you all just did strictly like carpentry stuff. But I mean,
Well, that's what I did. But see, there's 7 different rates in the CBs,
right.
and some of this has changed now, and I'm not up on all the new military, rates and things like that. But when I was in, there was 7 different rates.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you had your equipment operators that drove like your bulldozers and trucks and operated like forklifts and things like that, other equipment. You had your construction mechanics that fixed all that type of equipment. You had your builders that's what I was. So we did everything from uh, building bridges to buildings, doing drywall, painting, anything that has to do with building. You had your electricians, that did all your electrical. You had your utility men that did all of the plumbing and things of that nature. You had I know I'm missing somebody. You had your engineering aides that did your surveying and
Mm-hmm.
things of that. And was that 7? I don't know. I didn't count them out there. I might be missing somebody.
Okay. Now, as a CB, was that one of the jobs that kind of like afforded you the opportunity to have like bonuses? At certain jobs you would get like big bonuses if you was to like re-enlist or what?
C- CBs it was a very tough rate to get into. A
Right.
lot of those bonuses were given out to people that went and got some very expensive training through the military, and they were at a specific rate, and it was hard to keep people in. CBs, they would retire as a second class if they could,
Mm-hmm.
which they could. When I first got in, we had guys that were second classes, 19 years, as CBs. They're not leaving, so there was no real bonus to try to keep people in. Um, but you could do some pretty cool stuff, and that could translate to other jobs that could give you some sort of specialty training that then would provide some sort of bonus, like a load master or something like that.
So at the time you separated, how many years did you spend in there?
I was in active duty for 11 years.
11.
Mhm.
So what made you not want to just do like the extra 9 more years to like get the pension?
Well, I knew at the time of my life, I knew, And I said 10 years is the cutoff point. You have to make a decision at 10 years whether you're going to, if you're going to really do this, then you're going to stay the next 10. But at that point, if you're not going to do anything, you should get out and do something while you're still young. And so at the 10-year point, Cassidy had just been born, my daughter, and I was in the States, but they were going to send me to, I was looking to see where were you going to send me, and trying to decide whether I'm going to stay in, looking for orders, see what they're going to send me. And all they were sending me was like unaccompanied duty over in Europe for 2 years. And I'm thinking,
Oh
nah,
yeah, yeah.
nah, I don't think so. And I can't remember what the other duties were, but they weren't really that good. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and get out now. So I decided to get out at that point, but I still had like 9 months left. So.
Okay. Now you would think that after spending like 11 years in, that you could kind of write your own ticket as far as like, say, I want to go to this duty station for like maybe 4 or 5 years, and then I could just go to like my final duty station. Then I'll just do my full 20. But unfortunately, like in your case, they was going to send you unaccompanied. Like unaccompanied means that you just can't bring your family to your duty station, which is unfortunate.
Correct. So,
Yeah.
my wife and brand new child would have to stay in the States, and I would be overseas. And that's what would have made it harder too, is, I don't know how often I would have been able to even afford at that point to see them.
Right.
So,
And how long was that duty going to be as far as going to Europe?
I think it was a 3-year billet. It was either a 2-year. I think it was a 2-year billet or a 3-year billet. One of the two.
Oh, okay. That's still like 2 years
So
without.
minimum 2 years. So.
Okay. Now, because you first enlisted when you were 17, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what was the motivating factor in you deciding at 17, you know what, I want to join the military?
I was in Chicago, living on the South Side, so, I mean,
And
there's just,
we're talking mid 80s, late 80s?
this is the late 80s.
Late
So,
80s. Okay. All
yep,
right.
late 80s. And, I mean, things were, when I was growing up, if you heard about somebody get into a fight, usually it was, a fist fight, at the worst, somebody brought something like a bat, but no one was getting shot back then. So when I left, it was just still, it was getting a little rough. There was things going on, it was just getting a little crazy. And, it was just time for me to get out of Chicago and try to do something else. Cause, you know, I was at a place in my life where I just kind of knew that if I didn't get out of the neighborhood and do something else, then I would probably just get, stuck in the neighborhood. So.
Okay. I also, like when I signed the dotted line, I was 17 as well, but with the delayed entry program, I wasn't going to leave until after I graduated high school. Now for me, the pros and cons to that was, I graduated in June of 99 and I signed the contract in October of 98. So I had like a long period of time before I was ready to ship out. But the pro to that was I didn't have to worry about anything during my senior year. I didn't have to worry about filling out college applications and worried about if I was going to go to community college or a trade school. I knew I was going to go to the military, right?
Right.
But the con to that was, even though I was kind of straight on that front, I was still having doubts a little bit. I was like, I mean, should I really just leave Chicago and go to California where I'll be the only person out there? And I don't know. I mean, it's a good thing. Like back then, I wasn't trying to self-sabotage my my enlistment.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, everything worked out. I mean, honestly, to this day, that decision of like wanting to go into the military when I was 17 years old, it still has some type of effect today as far as where I am right now. So, yeah, just amazing.
Okay.
I mean, decisions that you make in the past, they can always come back to hurt you or help you. So that's the way I see it. So
Absolutely.
now, like when you first enlisted, what type of benefits was offered from like the state or I mean, for like in my case, we had the Illinois Veterans Grant in which the state paid tuition for like certain schools that was in the program. So did they have something like that for you back in the day?
Well, I mean, I signed up through Illinois too. So, I mean, I had all the same
Okay.
programs, that you had, but The difference is I think I went to Canada for the first 4 years of my naval career after I got out of basic training in my A school, and so I spent a lot of time up in Canada, just you know, learning a lot about the military.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
how was the civilian life like out in Canada as far as like on weekends? Like what was your routines back in the day as far as
Oh
like
man.
living in a barracks, like were y'all like going out in town, going to clubs, were y'all just at the barracks drinking? Like how was life like in Canada back, back then?
You know, it's funny because when I talk to people that go to college, you know, and I tell a story about my first duty station, they always say, "Man, that sounds like college." So we all lived in the barracks. We had this building. It's actually on YouTube. They imploded this building because this base is now shut down. But the building was 10 stories tall. Each story had about 60 floors on it, or I'm sorry, 60 rooms on it. Uh, some of those rooms were opened up to make office spaces and stuff like that. But this entire building housed almost everything on the base. You had medical, dental, the galley. Um, you had a little store. You had the quarter deck. You had the chapel. You had a gym. All of the barracks rooms. They had like little kitchens down there that you can rent. You know, if you wanted to cook. You know, we're in the barracks. If you wanted to like, you know, we cooked lobster once. Got a bunch of lobsters. Went down to the kitchen there and cooked them. I mean, a lot of other things there too. So uh, that's where we spent a lot of time
Hmm.
because it was up in Canada. You know, 6 months out of the year it was cold.
Right.
so so you know we spent a lot of time in the barracks in you know usually in the lounge and stuff like that. But we used to always try to get out and play sports because we couldn't get out a lot. So they used to have a thing called Sunshine Liberty. So during the during the warmer months, uh, if the sun came out on Friday and it was a beautiful day and everything on the base was running pretty smoothly, you could pretty much guarantee that the CO was going to call Sunshine Liberty and we would all be let go by noon, unless you were
Oh,
essential personnel and you had something that you had to get done.
right.
So we used to use those opportunities to go down to the baseball diamond and you know grab a couple of cases of beer, throw them on ice, play a couple of games of baseball. By that time, the beer was nice and cold, and we'd sit back and drink beer and just you know
Hmm.
bullshit and have a good time. So it was usually sports. Two things that we had up there to do was work and sports. So
Okay. What were the Canadian women like?
uh, it's Newfoundland, Canada. So, you know, you say Canadian women, you go to Vancouver, you go to Toronto, you go to, you know,
Montreal.
Montreal. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. It's going to be completely different. Um, they're extremely nice people. Love Newfoundlanders. They are party people. You know, they like to
Yeah.
have fun. You know, and they really just like to have a good time. And I've always had a good time while I was in Newfoundland. We did go out quite a bit. Once we got, you know, I first got up there, you know, we spent that first amount of time in the barracks. I think I spent a lot of time when I first got there because I was young, didn't have a car. Once I got a
Hmm.
car, we started going out in town. There wasn't anything really close. We had to drive an hour away to even get to the closest McDonald's. So,
Oh, okay.
but that's also where there was a movie theater and you know a mall and you know and clubs and stuff like that. So that's where we
Right.
used to go to party.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of you buying a car, like to me, that was my only regret when I was in was like buying a car. I should have never bought a car because I mean, most of my money was consumed with the car note and with the insurance. Because back then I had bad credit, so I had a very high interest rate, and I had high insurance because obviously I wasn't 21 yet, so I'm paying high insurance premiums and a high car note. Most of my money is going towards that. So I mean, unfortunately, I couldn't really live as comfortable as I wanted to live. I mean, even though that the meals and the barracks was like provided for by the military, but I should never bought that damn car, man.
It's kind of funny. I always tell people a story about a young Seebee that bought a car, and he came into our battalion, came into the military, and came to battalion while we were in Guam, and so he was didn't really know anything about the military. He was just very young, and so we went back to home port. What typically happens is you get all these young kids that go out, and the first thing that you find, like within a week, there's like 24 motorcycles parked out front when you coming in the morning, because all
Right.
these kids are going to buy motorcycles, either that or these little sports cars. And I had this one kid, he came in and he bought this sports car, and I can't even remember what it was called, but it was about a $27,000 vehicle. At that time, it was, that's a pretty hefty price for a vehicle. So I'm thinking,
Right.
how can you even afford this thing? And I asked him, I said, well, what's your APR? What you're paying? What are you paying in your interest and stuff? And he goes, my what? I
Oh
said, well,
man.
hey, do me a favor. Bring me in your paperwork tomorrow. Just bring it all in. I said,
Yeah.
I'll look over it for you and just see how things are, see what's going on with this and stuff. And, just make sure that, nothing's, man, they got him for 29% interest. Now, they've actually passed laws specifically in California because of this. There's a cap on what interest you can charge, because there was all of these places, these lending companies that would set up right outside military bases, because they knew that these young kids are going to come in, they want to buy a car, and they didn't know what 21, 26, 27%,
Yeah. Yeah.
they didn't understand any of that stuff. So to them, that so either way, I looked at it and I was like, all right, the first thing you need to do is you need to take this paperwork, you need to go down to the Navy Federal Credit Union, down over here at lunchtime. I'll let Chief such and such know what you're doing, and you need to ask them to get a loan for your vehicle and pay this loan off.
Right. Oh man. So
Uh,
did he follow up with it?
Yeah, he ended
He
up
did.
getting something at like 16%, which was about what, again, bad credit, very young,
Yeah. Yeah.
16% is high as hell, but that's on the higher end that you would ever expect to see.
All right.
And so he got something around that amount. I mean, he was very grateful. His payments went down something like $100 and some dollars a month.
Oh wow.
It's like,
Oh
that was
man.
crazy. It was crazy.
Now,
But yeah,
like, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, good.
Now, do you have any major regrets at any time during your whole military experience?
Regrets. None that, I mean, I don't have any regrets. If there was anything else I could have done
Right.
that, that I maybe had the opportunity for and didn't take the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I was stationed in Spain for about 3 months, and I had just left Scotland, and the Scotland deployment, it was a fun deployment, but it wasn't very good for my career. And so when I got to Spain, I was more worried about two things. One, I was working out at the time. I'd tore the rotator cuff off the bone in my shoulder a couple of years prior, and I had started working out, and just try to build the muscles back up. And so I was more worried about my health at that time, and also my career. And I didn't see Spain. There was guys talking about, hey, we're gonna go here, we're gonna go there, and I was like, think about my schedule. Oh, see, I got to work out today,
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah.
didn't get to go as many places as I probably could have. If I would have just taken a couple of days off, like on a weekend or something like that, and
Right.
gone somewhere, that would have been pretty cool, because I did get to do that in Scotland.
Right.
So
Okay. Yeah, man. Because as I said before, like that car kind of consumed like most of my finances, and I mean, that was a huge reason why I couldn't travel as much as I wanted to travel.
yeah,
So yeah, so that was a huge deal for me. I mean, obviously, as like a grown adult, I mean, I can kind of teach my daughters as far as like the pitfalls of, hey, this is gonna happen if you have bad credit. So don't be put in a situation. So I had to learn the hard way myself. So like that
Yeah.
first car I had was a white 2-door Pontiac Sunfire, and I had you remember that car, right?
Oh, you were one of the guys.
Yeah, man. So man, I can't believe it, but man, like the interest rate for that loan was 21%.
Ooh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, man. But yeah, but that was probably like my worst ever like purchase that I had in my life. So I mean, hopefully that's the only worst purchase I had. So, but yeah, but other than that, yeah, man. I thought I had a great military career, man. Just 4 years in the Marines, and I actually could have went into MSG duty because I actually got promoted pretty fast within that 4 years. I got up to E5 sergeant. So
Oh, wow, nice.
so I actually could have wrote my own ticket had I like re-enlisted because I was interested in MSG duty, but I was like, you know what? My whole plan was to just do 4 years, get out, and just go to college for free. So, and I pretty much followed up with that. And I mean, so far, I mean, up to this point, everything that I kind of planned out kind of worked out. But yeah, if I had any regrets as far as like how long I should have spent in the military, maybe extra 4 years just for the MSG duty. But besides that, I mean, everything kind of panned out the way it's supposed to pan out. So
Yeah, I'm not very political, so I I really didn't have any options because I was getting at that rank where you have to be more political to move on than be honest and try to do the right thing by people.
mm-hmm.
So it was, I really didn't have any options so far as I think staying in. Um, I mean, I would have had been in the really right position. Uh, and it would have been nice to stay in, but at the same time, it was nice getting out.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I have no
yeah.
idea what would happen if I stayed in, but the things that I got to do when I got out, I definitely don't have any regrets.
Yeah. Well, the silver lining for me when I got out, because remember I spent 6 months in Kuwait prior to
Right.
getting out. So like those 6 months, I was able to like build up so much savings and I was able to pay off that 21% car loan that I had. So yeah, I paid that off. And right before I went overseas, I bought a brand new Dell a desktop. So that was like a couple grand. So I paid that off. I literally paid off every single bill I had. Then I came back to the States with roughly 10 grand in savings. So, but yeah, that was only silver line as far as going to Kuwait. But yeah, I mean, I had to work for that because just to be out in Kuwait, just in the middle of nowhere in the desert, and totally unfamiliar with the whole terrain and climate. I mean, it was totally new for me. But yeah, and everything worked out. I came back. I wasn't injured or anything, and no VA claims for me. So, I mean, hopefully, 10, 15 years down the road, they 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 don't say something like, "Hey, if you had the anthrax or the smallpox shot back in 2003, you are at risk for this type of cancer." So,
VA
I just hope
disability.
that doesn't happen. But yeah, man. Oh yeah. Earlier, as far as like in your whole boot camp experience, how long was boot camp for you?
8 weeks.
8 weeks. Okay.
Yeah.
Ours was I think 12 weeks. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think 8 weeks was too long.
Yeah.
I don't know. For you, you can tell me how you kind of felt about boot camp. But when I went there, it's funny because people went there with the mentality that this is going to be scary. This is going to be hard. They're going to yell at me. And I went there with, okay, they're going to teach me something. They're going to teach me what I need to know. Yeah, they're going to yell at me, but that's just part of the game. I just have
Right.
to do what I'm supposed to be doing. If I screw up and I get yelled at it, whatever they're telling me to do to fix it, and we will move on. And we always did. And it was kind of funny near the end. We had this meeting where everybody got together, and they were like airing their problems. And I was like, I got up there and I was the youngest person in that company.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I turned 17 in July, and I was in boot camp in November. So
Hmm.
I was just like, you guys need to just buck up here. We've only got like a week and a half left. Y'all are complaining about this stuff. Just get done what you need to get done.
Yeah. 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 For me, at boot camp, it was kind of like a culture shock, like the first week, because I never really left home. So I mean, I'm out in the West Coast all alone, and it's like a 12 week program. So,
Yeah.
but once you got used to the physical, because it's more mental than physical. Because once you like get acclimated to like the whole workout routine, you can kind of get over that. But
Yeah.
as far as the whole mental of them just constantly playing mind games with you, and one person gets in trouble, the whole platoon gets in trouble. So it was just frustrations like that. But overall, man, it did taught me a lot, man. And you know um I mean, honestly, up to this day, I mean, you'll think that I don't mind cleaning up, but I hate field day now. I try to leave that stuff to my wife, but anytime she needs me to do things here and there, I mean, I'll go ahead and do it. But I despise cleaning and that whole field day stuff. So, but yeah, man, yeah. I mean, every once in a while, I just reminisce and just think about like those memories. And actually, 20 years ago was when I first got to my first duty station. I had reported to San Diego in January of 2000. So I was thinking
Oh
like,
wow.
wow, I was like, it's been 20 years since I went to my first duty station.
When did you leave there?
I left San Diego. I out processed in July of '03.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So you were there for a while, because I was going to say, when I saw you down there, we got down to San Diego literally. Um, I think it was like on the 1st of September, and then 9/11 happened, 10 days later.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Well, when 9/11 happened, I was at Camp Pendleton for roughly maybe 2 or 3 months because I changed duty stations from San Diego, the air station, up to Camp Pendleton, where I was part of the 3-star general staff.
Right.
So yeah, so yeah, but when I say San Diego, I mean I actually talk about both Pendleton and the air station. So
Yeah, I used to live just near Miramar, and I used to live on the beach, so I used to see all the different bases, and I was stationed out at San Clemente Island. So I
hmm
used to go off of North Island. Um, and then I used to do training, up at Camp Pendleton. So I mean, I got
hmm
to see all the bases down there in that San
yeah,
Diego area.
yeah, man. Hey, did you like driving over that bridge?
The first couple of times it was a little eerie, and it's because it
Yeah,
has that big sweeping curve, and
yeah,
so it just
yeah.
doesn't feel like, it feels like, okay, is this bridge moving? It's like
It's just
just
2 lanes, right?
no, no, it's like 6 lanes. It's like 3 lanes each way, and
Really? Okay.
then in the morning, traffic coming on, they have one of those movable dividers. So they put 4 lanes coming on in the morning, and then 4 lanes going off in the afternoon. Uh,
Okay.
and then any other time, it's, they just leave it at 3 lanes.
Okay.
So
Okay. I was looking up something about the bridge maybe like 5 years ago, and I believe they have like maybe one suicide every other year, something like that, jumping
hmm
from that bridge. And I mean that bridge is so freaking
pretty
high.
high. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
high bridge. That's the first thing they
Yeah.
told us when we went on that base, was that they were telling us about the bridge. The bridge also, I don't know what information you were all researching, but I was told the reason why there's that big sweeping curve in the bridge is because if the bridge is over a certain length, you can get federal funding. So they designed it with that big sweeping curve to make the bridge longer.
Oh, that's hilarious, man.
Now, whether or not that's true, I mean, I would love to definitely
Oh
verify,
man,
but I wouldn't doubt it.
everybody want a welfare check, man.
Yeah, right, right. In one way or another, give
Oh
me something.
man, that's hilarious. Yeah,
Yeah,
man. Okay. Oh
yeah. So,
man.
so you were only just stationed at the two places in California, then, right?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Um,
I was around the world.
yeah, man. I mean, obviously, if I did like a second enlistment, I probably did more places here and there. But yeah, man, just boot camp in San Diego. Then I went to my MOS school out in North Carolina, and then right back to California for the duty station. So yeah, man. I mean, it's just literally two places, and the other big base within the states is in Lejeune, North Carolina, and I was just right outside of that.
And I went boot camp in Florida, training in Mississippi, first duty station in Newfoundland, Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was stationed in battalion in Port Hueneme, where I deployed to Guam and Spain and Scotland. Then I got stationed in San Diego, San Clemente Island. Then I got stationed at the Naval Academy, where I got out.
Oh, okay. Now, how far your commute was from your apartment to the island?
Well, I was living in PB, Pacific Beach, and luckily for us, we didn't have to be to the airport. Our plane took off at 10, so I think we had to be at the airport and checked in by 9:30.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the traffic was actually the traffic was starting easing up, so it wasn't so bad. And traffic wasn't nearly as bad as it is today, I'm sure back then. So I don't know, my commute may have been like 20 minutes, 15, 17 on a really good day if I had a speed because I was late.
Oh,
But
okay.
about 20 minutes maybe.
So living in PB, you had roommates?
Yeah, I had one main roommate. We had a couple of people that kind of popped in and stayed for a couple of months and paid some rent. But
Right,
uh,
right.
my friend Dean was my roommate when I was in PB.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because prior to going to Kuwait, I had moved out the barracks because I had just picked up sergeant, so I was able to pick up the BAH.
Mm,
So while I was in Kuwait, I was collecting, comrades, BAH, and hazard, hazard pay or whatever, hostile work
yeah,
pay or something like that. Yeah,
yeah.
I would just collect all types of like, pay in Kuwait. So that kind of like allowed me to stack up money and just pay off every single bill I had. So, but yeah, man, I had an interesting career because I really didn't work in my MOS that long because, since I was selected to work for the general staff. So, I mean, I did my actual job for about a good maybe year and a half. And then after that, I was just part of the general staff. I was just pretty much kind of doing whatever that they needed. Like, because he traveled a lot. I would drive to the airport a lot to conferences, and I would set up the conference room for him, set up presentations, slash shows, and it's so much stuff. But every day really wasn't the same. I mean, it was still exciting. I mean, people, you get to see all types of higher ups and stuff. So
I could
definitely rub
bet.
definitely rub elbows with, like, with definitely the higher ups. And I met a couple commandants. I was always a big coin collector, so all the big wigs that like came in, and that they was always giving out coins and stuff. So I still got my coins upstairs in the living room, just on display at the window ledge. So, but yeah, man, I still reminisce on this type of stuff, man, and it definitely afforded me like a decent lifestyle. So, because
Yeah,
if you don't go to college, I mean, to me, I think the military probably like affords you like the best opportunity to like live a comfortable middle class lifestyle.
absolutely. I mean, one of the
Yeah.
things is taking advantage of it too, because you get in the military, and of course, just like everywhere, not everybody takes advantage of the opportunities that they have.
Right.
But I mean, the funny thing is when you think about it, I was 17 years old when I joined. So when I got out, I was like 28, and you think about some of the toughest times in growing up, and it's usually after you leave the house, when you're young and trying to make it to 26. All the struggles of being a young adult. And in the military, it's not like you don't have those struggles still, but you have a place to stay, you have something to eat, you have a paycheck coming twice a week or twice a month.
Yeah.
You know that. And even though you're gonna, screw up every once in a while, as long as you don't screw up too bad, everything is gonna be okay.
You got a safety net. I guarantee safety net. So.
Yep. So yeah, so military is not a bad option. It's a lot different than when I got in, but then again, if there was guys making a podcast when I was just getting in the military, they'd probably be saying the same thing about the military. It's going to always change,
Mm-hmm.
but it's changing to fit the people that are actually getting in. So it's probably good for the young folks at this point,
Yeah.
being in the military. If you're an old fogey, it's probably, it's not the same military. It's time for you to go.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Because I have a couple of friends that's actually still in right now, but I would say maybe 95% of people that I knew, they all gone. As far as doing civilian stuff, but it's just a couple that just still hanging on. Just still being motivated and representing their country and everything. But yeah,
Yeah,
man, because prior to joining, I had always had those type of fears of like, oh man, what if I join and they send me to war, and which it happened. I got sent to Kuwait. So, but even though in that time, I didn't feel scared or anything, because like the military does a good job and kind of like getting you mentally prepared for like something like that.
yeah.
So yeah, I didn't have any type of fear or anything. But yeah, prior to joining, that was my number one fear. Oh man, if I join, I'm gonna go to war. But yeah, definitely wasn't a big deal though. Wasn't a big deal. No. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. So you have any parting shots? Any other thing that I missed out on?
No, I mean, other than man, it was a great time. It was a good 11 years. There was some good times and there was some bad times. As there are with everything in life.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, it was a really good experience. It gave me a lot of good information for life, and definitely helped me get to the places that I've gotten to since
Mm-hmm.
then. So
Awesome, man. Yeah, man. Damn, it's been 20 years since, like I said earlier, and I got so much, like memories and life lessons, and I'm definitely pass on to my daughters as far as hey, just work hard. As long as those opportunities are there for you, just seize them.
yeah,
Nothing's given to you. You got to go out there and work, just as hard or harder than anybody else out there. So, but yeah, it definitely taught me that, and I'm still trying to live by that up to today. So,
cool.
yeah, man. So, but yeah, this is our first conversation of many, hopefully.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So, like I said, viewers, listeners, this is the Cornerstone Podcast. Subscribe, like, comment on the content, and we shall see y'all soon.